Imagine yourself walking in an open field. It's just before dark. Uphill, along the bank of the stream, it borders on the edge of an old forest. Everyone in the local village says that there's something unusual about it. They call it Enchanted. There are tales from long ago of strange people there, often heard singing and dancing in forest clearings. The villagers talk of magic, of remembering things from hundreds of years in the past when you go inside. As you walk up to the edge of the field, there's a great wall of trees, tall and dark, running left and right as far as the eye can see. The sun has almost gone down and there's a storm coming. It's too late to get back to the village. Perhaps there's shelter in the forest. Just in front is an iron gate, old and rusty, between two tree trunks. You're now inside the forest, and everything is deep green. Great oak trees either side of the path, a huge arch of branches and leaves above. The path winds away into the forest. Perhaps it's best to find shelter quickly. As you go along the winding path, you reach a small clearing. There's an old bonfire, piles of logs everywhere. A hut, a woodman's hut, nestling right into the trees at the edge. It's full of tools, axes, saws, pots of nails, coils of rope hanging on hooks. There's one window in the side and one in the roof. There's an old bed in the corner. Outside the windows, the tree branches seem to swirl like crooked arms waving with sharp fingers. There's a bolt on the door. It'll be safe here for the night until the storm passes. You look up at the skylight. The first rain of the storm is starting to beat against the glass. It's morning at last. A bright sunbeam is shining down through the skylight. Outside, there are drips of water on all the branches. The sky above is clear and blue. At the far edge of the clearing, the path continues deeper into the forest. As you walk along the path, it's winding along to the left and right. There are brambles and weeds everywhere. Shafts of sunlight are falling through hundreds of gaps in the canopy above. Through the trees, there are patches of bluebells mixed with ferns and other wild flowers. You've walked much deeper into the forest now, and the woods are getting darker. The trees are closer together. Most of the sunbeams from above have gone. The path seems like a corridor with trees either side. They are old and twisted. Some have mushroom leaves of fungus growing from them. They look almost like trolls. It seems like the path ends here. Some trees have fallen across the ground and are blocking the way. It's getting harder to walk. There are branches everywhere that seem to spring up in front as if the trees are trying to hold you, stop you moving forward. Your feet are getting entangled in the undergrowth. Perhaps you'll have to turn back. Suddenly, you can see some light up ahead of you. A clearing. You fight your way past the branches and break out into the open. It's a clearing in the forest. A circle about 50 feet across. Above, the sky is blue, with large white clouds moving fast. The floor of the clearing is grass. In the middle, there's a smaller, darker circle, about 10 feet in diameter. Surely this is an elvish circle, just like in the old legends told in the village. Now you're standing in the very centre. The small ring is made of dark grass and tiny toadstools. There's an ancient feel about this place, and a sense of being watched. Sunlight glints from raindrops on the leaves all around, or maybe bright eyes keeping watch. There's no way back into the shadows behind. The only way is to go ahead, where the path continues into the trees again. The woods are lighter here. The path winds along in front of you towards a hill in the distance. As you head towards it, You pass bright patches of red and blue flowers on both sides. The scent of pine fills the air. Now the ground begins to rise steeply. The trees are beginning to thin out, and between them there are rocks, at first small, then great boulders. The path leads up to a big rock outcrop at the base of the hill, which rises above the treetops. There is sunlight on the right side of the curved rock face. Walking around to the left, the path ends at a large opening in the rock, a cave entrance. Maybe this leads through to the other side of the hill. Inside, the entrance is a small passage, about 6 feet in height. The floor is worn smooth. Perhaps this was an old gateway to an underground kingdom. Drops of water fall from giant stalactites. The path leads downwards into the darkness. You follow the path slowly, feeling your way along. The air is still and damp. It leads into a chamber, much larger and higher. Towards the far end of the cavern, there is a raised stone, some sort of chair, like a throne for the king of the underworld. Behind the throne, just visible in the darkness, there are rough-hewn steps leading upwards. As you reach the lowest step, a very dim light becomes visible far above. You've emerged into the open, just past the top of the hill behind. All around there are thin trees. The sunshine is bright and warm, There's a brook coming from the rocks and travelling away down the hill, disappearing into the forest. Far beyond, there is something that looks like a huge valley or chasm in the distance. Moving down, the woods gradually become thicker. You clamber over fallen branches and rocks. The woods finish here at the side of the great valley. The ground slopes away steeply, with some trees hanging on at impossible angles. It must be about half a mile across to the other ridge. The sun is starting to set over the far ridge, casting long dark shadows on this side of the valley. There's a huge bird of prey, like an eagle, wheeling over it in the sky. The stream is cascading over the edge, several hundred feet to the valley floor. There's no easy way down, just a rocky path winding by the side of the waterfall. At the bottom, it meets the river, winding in woods along the valley, round to the left, out of sight. There's something there, on the opposite ridge, almost hidden in the trees. An old stone tower. It casts a long shadow across the valley. The base is obscured by the trees. There in the darkness, there seem to be things moving. Perhaps just some forest animals, or maybe something else. There is a feeling of watchfulness from the tower. Maybe you should head for the safety of the valley floor before you are seen. You edge carefully down the steep path. Now you're at the bottom of the waterfall. There's a pool and a stream running on from it. The woods are lighter, with all different kinds of trees. There is no path up to the tower, now dark, with the sun setting behind it. Perhaps if you follow the stream, it will eventually lead you out of the forest. There are willows along both banks of the stream. Some of them look like old men, stooping and waving in the breeze. Up ahead, in the gloom, there is the same iron gate leading out of the forest. At last, you're in the open fields again. Darkness is falling. The moon is full and shining overhead. Away in the distance, lights are twinkling in the village. The sounds of the village are welcoming as you draw closer.